Episode 8. The Strangled Heart. Alice asks for some space post-Fox shenanigans because she's not sure if the Fox is influencing her or if she actually has real feelings for Quentin now. Quentin doesn't really respect that, and instead we get a little bit of a funny scene where he douses himself in Axe body spray in order to weaken the Fox's senses. Eliot is doing really well with having Mike around. It's really lightened him up. He's been able to open himself up and sort of reveal some of his insecurities. On the other hand, Mike is turning out to become a more and more suspicious character with everything that happened in the previous episode, and now we have a scene where a rabbit comes up to him and he picks it up, decapitates it, and then pulls a knife out of its body. The first years are then divided up into study groups as their course load is being increased to support where they are in the system and also just all the dangers that have been happening. Penny, Alice, and another girl are put into a study group, but Quentin is able to bribe the girl into letting him take her place. Alice is very justifiably upset about this and ends up not really going to the study group. One, probably to avoid Quentin, and two, she is just so far ahead of everybody else in studies that it doesn't necessarily make practical sense for her to always be practicing with everybody else. So then Penny and Quentin are left to study alone. They choose a place outside, and while they're outside, Mike comes up and not really saying anything. He then tries to stab Quentin. Penny, in a blink of a moment, teleports in front of him and ends up getting stabbed instead of Quentin, and then Mike runs off. Mike eventually gets caught and then claims that he doesn't have any memories of the past couple of days, and the last thing that he remembers is waking up in Brooklyn. Penny's stab wound is magically cursed. The blade used to stab him was the Virgo blade. It's a blade that causes the wounded to become strangled by thorns. Jane Chatwin encountered this blade in the Fillory books and was able to overcome it by burning a doll that looked like her. With this knowledge, Quentin and the others try to burn a Penny doll in the hopes that it will help get rid of the curse, but it does nothing. Eliza finds Quentin and tells him of course that didn't work, saying that the Fillory books are just a child's drawing of the real Fillory, that in order to save Penny, they really need to read between the lines. The Beast's goal is to control Fillory and all the doorways that connect to it. Jane was able to defeat the curse not because the doll looked like her, but because the doll was of an importance to her because it was given to her by her mother. The curse accepted a prized possession as sacrifice. Some things are more important than our lives. That leaves Alice and Quentin to find out what is important to Penny, and they end up digging through his room to try to find something, and at first Alice finds his pills, saying, hey, these are really important to him, but Quentin makes the point that, hey, pills are fungible, you can always get more, they're not that important. He instead finds a chocolate wrapper from Brakebill South, the last place that Penny saw Katie. He thinks that this might be important enough to Penny. They take the chocolate wrapper and burn it in front of Penny, and luckily, it breaks the curse. Eliza goes to the room where Mike is being held and tells him he can drop the act. Mike does, and he addresses her as Jane Chatwin. She tells him that it's useless for him to try to close all the doors to Fillory because one will always open as needed. Mike tells her that he was waiting for her to come here and he's actually not trapped, and then springs up and attacks Jane. Mike then goes to start escaping, and Dean Fogg tries to stop him but is unable to get the drop on him. Luckily, Eliot was in the area, being distressed about what's going on with Mike, and he is able to stop Mike. But it's too late. Eliza, or as we now know, adult Jane Chatwin, is already past. Quentin goes to Dean Fogg asking what are they supposed to do now that the Beast has been coming to the school and attacking them. But the Dean doesn't know what to do. He says Eliza has been the one with the answers, and with her gone, no one knows what's going to happen next. Most likely, everyone dies. Meanwhile, Julia has been in rehab. Marina drops by and says, hey, no hard feelings as long as you stay out of my way, I'm not gonna come after you. While in rehab, Julia meets Richard, a fellow magician, who is a bit more of a religious type. He gives her a spell to try out, and try to prove to her that all magic isn't bad. She does the spell and she's lifted up into the air and she's filled with an abundance of power. She says she feels like an Energizer bunny. She goes to ask Richard what the hell that was because that's nothing like she's ever felt before, and he says, oh, that wasn't a spell, but that was a prayer for a local harvest deity. They've never been able to have somebody get a response from her before, so Julia is actually pretty special in this regard. Knowing that she has been God-touched now, he recruits her to try to show her what good they can do with magic.